Hey, we're going to try this again. I may sound a little bit annoyed. That's because this is the 11th take of this video. And the reason it's 11 takes is we can all blame Admin Kathy from the Finn the Human page. She wanted a shout out and couldn't help but text me a bunch of times about it. And every time she texted me, it was during the video, thereby distracting me and making me have to start over. So there's your shout out, Admin Kathy. You ruined my video. Except not really, you only messed it up once. You know, it was just the best take, but whatever, you know. It's no big deal. I'm not passive aggressive. Anywho, sir, I completely digress. I'm getting horribly off topic. I am very good friends with Admin Kathy. Don't worry, there's no bad feelings there. So all of her fans don't have to kick my ass. We're like this, man. But anyway, again, I digress. What's wrong with me? Another opinion video, and I'm speaking as Admin Grunt of the Generic Grunt page. Because I told you guys a while back that I was going to make a video like this, and I never got around to it. So, quick intro, again, I'm Admin Grunt, and I'm talking about my opinion on part of Generation 1 to Generation 5 of Pokemon comparison. And, the thing is, I have a lot of opinions about both... I have opinions about all the generations, and I realize that it's too many to cover in one video, so I'm going to make a few of them and just kind of explain different aspects, in my opinion. And because overall, I would classify myself as one of the people obsessed with early generations. And, you know, I'm a nostalgia fag, I admit it. But I have played Generation 5, and I do appreciate it in some ways. I just by far prefer the original. But I'm not going to talk that much into that. I'm talking more about one specific thing where, which is picking your starter in Generation 1 to Generation 5. Now, there are a few things that they changed for Generation 3, Fire Red and Leaf Green. So people that only know that and haven't played Generation 1 games, there's some things might not make as much sense because they changed some things that make what I'm saying not work for Fire Red and Leaf Green. But here we go. So Generation 1, we all know the three starters, Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle, and I almost forgot Charmander, which is terrible. Like, there's a second pause. Anyway, and I probably didn't even have to say that. You guys wouldn't have known. I look like an ass now. But anyway... So, something you don't realize when you're a kid playing this game is that the three starters are set up as difficulty settings. People don't realize this, and of course when you're 6 and 7 you don't understand. But it's because the first two gyms you visit, the first one is rock, and the second one is water. So if you pick Bulbasaur, you have a type advantage for the first two gyms. Squirtle, you have a type advantage for the first one, and Charmander, you have a type advantage for neither, and you get your ass kicked. So if you only had the first starter, that's how it would set up. And so Bulbasaur was the easy difficulty, where at the beginning, it's, you know, you can beat everyone, but over time, Bulbasaur becomes ultimately less really useful. You know, if you give him Sleep Powder and Leech Seed and you keep that the whole game, then like Vine Whip and Frenzy Plant, which is only in 3rd generation, so Solar Beam for 1st generation, then, you know, you've got a pretty good lineup there, but as a whole, he doesn't quite do as much when you get like the Elite Four and stuff, as, say, Bulbasaur or Charizard. So, Bulbasaur, Blastoise, sorry, that was terrible. But anyway, you can excuse that, I was just talking about Bulbasaur, and then, you know. Anyway, so Blastoise and Charizard. Squirtle, as picking the starter, he's kind of medium because he's pretty good at the beginning and then kind of evens out throughout most of the game, you know. So he still is, like, really useful later on with Hydro Pump and things like that. But, you know, it's kind of neutral to the whole thing. Charmander, and this is only Generation 1 Charmander because they totally beef him up in Generation 3. But Generation 1 Charmander was the difficult one because he couldn't beat either of the two gyms, but over time becomes the biggest badass ever. In Generation 3, though, what they do is... Okay, well, in Generation 1, before you reach Brock, there is nothing you can catch in the wild that will give you a type advantage over him. Like, there's nothing at all. Like, the best you can do is try to get, like, a Butterfree and be like, oh, Confusion, you know. In Generation 3, they give you a Mankey pretty quickly in the game as a thing to catch, in which case, like, oh, fighting beats Brock easily, so it's like you might as well just get a Charmander, because you don't even have to worry. Sorry, I have the hiccups. Also, they give Charmander a Steel move in Generation 3 early on that he can learn, and that's like, oh, well, he can easily beat Brock with a Steel move. So in Generation 3, there's no reason to not pick Charmander, because they even give Charizard a bit like HM2 Fly, I believe. Not, I believe that's, I know it's Fly, I'm pretty sure he can learn it, I can't recall. In Generation 1 he can't. Generation 3 I think he can. So it's like there's no reason in Generation 3 to not pick Charmander. Whereas in Generation 1 there's the set difficulties. Generation 5 starters, right away you can take off Tepig, and that's because, one, I think we're all pretty tired of the firefighting starters. You know, it's getting old. And his moveset isn't that good, you know, like they're not, they affect him, and they're not that powerful. You'd have to talk to Bugcatcher more about that part, just because Bugcatcher knows a lot more about the later generation, like Generation 5, he's kind of an expert on that, whereas I don't know quite as much. But I do know that he told me early on that the best choice is Oshawott because of the moveset and who you have to fight. But again, what happens in Black and White is whatever you pick as your starter is the first gym you go to. Whatever you picked as your starter, you have to battle what has a type advantage over it. So I was there and I was thinking, oh, that's cool. They're going to give you this challenge right away. But what they do is, just like into this weird vacant little woods place off to the side of the gym is like a creepy pedophile, sorry, I can't speak, creepy pedophile who's like, hey, you want this Pokemans? And you're like, not really, old man. Hey, you want the Pokemans? And so you take the Pokemans, and you're like, what is it? Like, it's a generic monkey. That's whatever you need to beat the first gym. That's what that is. So they give you whatever has the type advantage over the first gym, which makes me think, like, why make such a big deal about that part, you know? Like, why is such a big deal about the fact that it's going to be a type advantage over your... Like, anyway, and another thing, like, the monkey you get, it's like a generic monkey that has whatever element beats the first gym, and it's a shit Pokemon. It really is. Like, the only reason you ever need to use it is for the first gym, and shortly after that, it's probably gone out of your party. And what they do later on is you get a free evolution stone that is the same element as whatever the monkey is, and that evolves with the stone. And that's totally just the creators going, yeah, we know this Pokemon sucks ass, but just take it for a little bit, beat the first gym, and then evolve it, and then you don't have to ever use it. Just fill up your Pokedex, we don't really care. So it takes away that challenge aspect that Generation 1 had, in my opinion. And so for this video, I just wanted to focus on that part. And I might be wrong with some of this stuff, and if I am, feel free to message me and let me know. But nothing too mean. I just wanted to, you know, I said I was going to post my opinion. And I can't remember if I explained at the beginning of this video why it's in black and white, but it's totally symbolism because I'm talking about black and white. And I'm so edgy and deep, but really it's because I accidentally set my camera to black and white and I can't remember how to take it off. So I might have mentioned that at the beginning. If I did, I'm sorry for repeating the joke. But anyway, that's my opinion about picking the starters where, you know, I actually picked Bulbasaur just because I was like, cool, Bulbasaur. But anyway, and then I pick Oshawott in Generation 5. But it's, you know, there was this challenge that was there in Generation 1 that I don't think is there anymore. So again, feel free to message me, share the page, like the page. Is he really doing an advertisement at the end of his video? Yeah, but it's okay, because I like you guys. And again, Admin Kathy, thanks a lot. And yeah, that was totally just bitch move right there. But again, her and I like this. So again, I'll see you guys. I'm signing out.